right, next up is let's go ahead and get the flywheel bolts out, and then we'll tackle the bell housing bolts last. So the way I do it is I usually get a socket and I'll stick it on the crank. This is about a 16, this is 16. And I'll put it on the crank just like this. I'll spin it around until the flywheel bolts gets exposed over here. All right, that's a 15. Hit my head one more time, we're gonna fight. When you take these bolts out, before you put them back in, make sure you use Loctite. That's the last thing you want is drive down the road and have the car freaking bolts come out of the flywheel. And I have seen that before, believe it or not. Oh, fuck me, that hurt. I think there's only 3 in here. We're done. Thought it was only 3. So when you take the transmission bolts out, most of the transmission bell housing bolts are a 15. You're gonna have some 14s that hold on these, like this harness here has got a bracket on it, that's a 14. There's like 3 of those. One of them's gonna hold the dipstick tube in, but the main bolts are gonna be a 15. Might be a 13 on some of these brackets. Yep, I believe it is. So I was thinking it was a 14, but these are gonna be a 13. And all that does is hold that harness on. So you just take it off, get it out of the way. So let me correct myself. The bell housing bolts are 14. I don't know why I told you 15. That's your fuel rail line, so don't skimp. Make sure you go back with the bracket that holds them on there. Just move that bracket out of the way. And there's a bracket behind a bracket behind a bracket. What I did was in this one here, I went ahead and took the swivel off because it was screwing me up. So that gives me 2 more 13s to get off. Now I left the exhaust up. I'm hoping I can get it out without taking the exhaust down. I mean, I have to take it out anyway, but I just didn't want to flop it in my way, and I'm pretty sure I can get it back far enough. All right, let me go ahead and get a jack stand. I mean, the transmission stand back underneath this thing because she's coming down. I smacked my head more than any one person. Sweet. That's why I took the dipstick out earlier. So all I have to do is take the housing to it and just kind of pull it out and let it hang, because it's connected to a bunch of lines up there and they're a pain in the ass to get to. And this is just an easier way to do that. Oh yeah. I usually write the word out on the flywheel, so when you're going back with the old one, when you're going back with a new one, you know where to put it at. I'm switching over to an impact socket. Bitch. Boom. The reason why that one got messed up is because I tried to take it off without an impact socket, and they ended up rounding it up a little bit. So that one's on me. So not sure if you can see this or not, but right here is where the bolts were going into the crankshaft. And they were just about all the way through. They're really weak. Matter of fact, this was cracked a little bit right here. And what was happening was this flywheel was flexing in there, and it like metal to metal, sound like a bell up inside there. This is the new one going in. All right, let's get in the car. This is the only stud that broke off, so I'm either gonna go back with a nut and a bolt, or depending on how it drills out, it'll be a nut and bolt, or it'll be the correct thing for it. All right, let me go in and get it easy out so you can easily get it out. If this don't work, then we're gonna do nut and bolts. Oh, all right. I just started a minute ago, started fine. I hit it one time. All right, that is not happening. So we are gonna go back with a nut and a bolt in this. So I'll get it drilled out to about the same size hole. This over truck, it'll work out just fine, be no issues. So what I've done is I moved this one here in a position so when I get the transmission back up, I can reach my hand in there and put it on the torque converter and line it up to this one here. I know that every other one's gonna line up because I already mashed it up. So far we're looking good. There's two dial pins, one here and one I believe is on the other side. If you get them lined up, it should slide up with ease. Matter of fact, I can look through the hole and just about see that dial pin. That one is on the money. Actually, both of them look good. Once you got both dial pins in place, get one bolt on each side and hand tighten it. Just for the first two, I usually get them in by hand first. All right, let's let this massive out of that string go by. I take my hand ratchet and just get them snug. And the reason for that is, the reason why I just want to snug these two up first is because now I know the transmission is sitting flush. You should be able to grab the torque converter with the transmission in that position, and you should be able to spin it. If you can't spin that torque converter, then you have issues. What I like to do next is go ahead and get my flywheel bolts in. I just hand started that one there, and I can reach the one on this side over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it hand started. And I'm only gonna put a couple of turns on it until I get all three. If you tighten each one up individually all the way down, they usually don't go together correctly. You end up fighting it in the end. In case you're wondering, yes, I did use Loctite. Now that that's done, go back and get all the belt housing bolts in, get them tight, and this job is halfway done. At this point, in order to get the brackets on here like I need to, I've got to raise up the transmission a little bit to that height. All right, now let's get the sight shield up. pick this exhaust up and slide it. One goes right here and one goes in the back. And I'm gonna, it's gonna go around the front here. Go ahead, go more. All right, we'll go ahead and get the exhaust tight. He had to be hearing some banging when he was driving. You know, going from reverse to drive or just anything like that. He had to be hearing noise. All right, moving right along. We're getting somewhere now. Let's go ahead and get the center brace up. Make sure you hand tighten everything first. Once everything is together, then go back and tighten it up. So this is one of those jobs that basically everything has gone wrong. Even down to the ratchet getting stuck. Holy crap. You ever had one of them jobs? Everything you do goes wrong. It's like, oh my God. You know, it just goes to show you, it doesn't matter how many times you've done something. Everybody has those days. I couldn't imagine doing this on the ground, like at your house or something, just doing it on the ground itself. All right, moment of truce. Get this thing started up. Let's hear if we hear any clinking and clanking. So walking around and listening to it, we don't really hear anything. Everything sounds pretty good. I don't hear any metal tapping or anything.